This is Rich Spencer, and this is your March edition of the Life Lessons blog. Today's subject, goals and planning. So most people have goals. They can be, I want to be something when I get older, I want to start a business, I want to do this in ministry, this in relationship. But how many people, number one, have SMART goals, and how many people actually plan to accomplish those goals? My first point is this. Your goals need to be SMART goals. SMART, of course, means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and relative, and timed. Give you an example. When I set out this morning, when I got up, I wanted to run 4 miles. Now, that was my goal today. I wanted to run 4 miles. I didn't just wake up and say, I think I want to run. I said, I want to run 4 miles. First thing, my goal was to run 4 miles. Was it specific? Absolutely. I had a number in mind, 4 miles. Was it measurable? Of course it was. I can measure whether I ran 4 miles based on the distance and everything else using my GPS running assistant. Was it attainable? Sure. On my best days, I run 7 to 10 miles. On average, I run about 5 miles. Today, because of time and so forth, I only wanted to get a good 4-mile run in. The R, was it realistic or was it relative? Absolutely, it was relative and it was realistic. Something, as I said before, that I've done on numerous occasions. And T, was it time? Yes, it was time because I wanted to run that distance on today. That was my goal, run 4 miles. Here's another example of a goal. As I'm working on a manuscript and I'm coming to a close, I wanted to make sure that I'm spending the proper amount of time on my writing to get it done. So my goal was to spend at least 1 hour every day writing. That was it. Again, going back to, is it a SMART goal? Is it specific? Sure it is. The goal wasn't just, you know what, I want to do a little writing. It wasn't real vague or generic. It wasn't, I think I can write a little bit. It was, I want to spend at least 1 hour every day writing. So specific, absolutely. Was it measurable? Of course it's measurable. I can measure the time I start and the time that I finish to make sure it's at the very least 60 minutes. Is it attainable? Absolutely. Let's be real, people. If we take a look at our 24-hour day, of course deducting the amount of time that we're sleeping and eating and the things that we're required to do, such as at work, that free time more than likely is spent doing things that either aren't as productive as possible or, let's face it, we're just wasting time. That means let's turn the TV off a little bit. Let's put down the video games. Let's get offline, search the internet, and let's actually do something that's sowing into our positive development and our professional and personal development. Is it realistic and relevant? Of course it is. I'm a writer. I love to write. I have a manuscript I need to complete, so you're very realistic. And is it time? Of course it's time. The timing is on every day. I want to spend at least 1 hour writing. So that's what, of course, that's 2 of my goals. Your goals could be something vastly different. They could be very similar. Could be to start a business in a certain time frame. Remember, don't just say, I want to start a business. Say, I want to start a business this year, this quarter, next quarter, whatever the case may be. I want to write some poetry. I want to write a manuscript. I want to film a video, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be, make sure your goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant and realistic, and timed. So those are goals. We all have goals. We all want to aspire to do something. But how do we get there? That's our plan. I tell young people, strive to soar as high as you can soar. Always set goals. Strive to be the very best you can be. But a goal without a plan is just a dream. And we all have dreams. But how do you make that dream come true? How do you accomplish that goal? That's your plan. So in terms of planning, let's get back to my 2 goals. First goal was to run 4 miles today. There were only 2 components of the plan for that goal. Those components were when and where. The how, of course, we understand it's running. It's not much to it. You pick them up, you put them down. But the when. When was I going to run? Was it going to be in the morning, midday, late afternoon, early evening? For me, if I don't get out and do it in the morning, once my schedule starts, once I get into my flow of business and training, it's probably not going to happen. So I identified that the best time for me was in the morning. Check. Got that. The second thing was, of course, the where. I needed to identify a place that would allow me, would accommodate me running 4 miles. I'd go to the local high school track and run around over and over again. Not my thing. So I identified the place. Where could I go that I could at the very least go out 2 miles and back into to accomplish my 4-mile goal? So once I figured that out, I was set. That was my plan. Identify what time I'm going to do it and where I'm going to do it. And from that point, it was all in here and it was all in here for me to carry it out and to run the miles as I stated in my goal according to my plan. My other goal was writing. Again, my plan was to make sure that I grab my iPad or my laptop or even a notepad if I wanted to, write old school, spend the amount of time required. So it's carve out 1 hour in each day to turn the TV off, turn off the video games, turn off the iPod, whatever it may be, whatever the distracting things are. And sometimes we need those things. Listen, sometimes I need to just sit down, grab my iPod, put on one of my mixes, and just relax. It's life. But then there are other times where I need to sow into my own personal development, professional development, and try to get to a new level. So I wanted to create a plan. How am I going to get this manuscript done by the end of the second quarter 2012? First thing is create smaller goals, small plans. Smaller goals were spend 1 hour every day writing. How do I accomplish those things? Carve out the time. Make it possible. Either before I go to bed, midday break between, doing my work and my training. In the morning when I wake up after I go do my devotions. Find the time, make the time. And when you create that plan, you'll find that you follow that plan, you have more structure, and you also can accomplish those goals a lot easier. Set goals. Make sure your goals are smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and relevant, and of course timed. Create a plan to allow you to accomplish those goals. Remember, a goal without a plan is just a dream. And as you set those goals, as you create a plan to accomplish those goals, make sure you stick to it, be at your best, success is on the way.